longtime Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell, who has represented Kentucky in the Senate since 1985, has announced that he'll step down from his leadership post in November. And so the race is on to replace him, making for one of the most intriguing political stories of the year, aside from the presidential election, of course, and the battle for control of Congress itself. What's going to happen? Who better to ask than a veteran professional political gambler, odds maker, and analyst? That's who we have with us today, all the way from England. So don't go away.
Welcome to Lean to the Left, home of no-holds-barred commentary, plus interviews with fascinating people, some of them top experts, others simply with interesting stories to tell. You'll never know who'll show up at Lean to the Left. Now here's your host, Bob Gaddy.
We welcome to the podcast Paul Krishnamurti, political odds maker and analyst for Betonline.ag. Paul began betting on politics in the UK in 2001 and in the US in 2008. And he tells me that's basically the way he earns his living, as being a gambler, which just amazes me that he can do that. Anyway, he's been an analyst for Betfair, the world's largest betting exchange, and since 2020, he's been the political odds maker for betonline.ag. So, Paul, welcome to the Lean to the Left podcast, my friend.
Thanks for having me on, Bob.
Hey, since we opened with the tease about Mitch McConnell, let's talk about that. Looks like we have three Johns, all white guys in their 60s. Cornyn of Texas, Thune of South Dakota, and Barrasso of Wyoming, leading the race to succeed him. So what are the odds of that, Paul?
When we first opened the betting, it was pretty much a 3 and 4 vote race between those three plus Steve Daines.
Yeah.
It has become clear, at least from news reports, that John Barrasso will probably run for number 2 and that Steve Daines, who was the fourth man, is probably not going to run for it. So it looks like a match between John Cornyn and John Thune.
Okay.
Now, we won't know this until after the election, of course.
Right.
So much could change in the meantime. Other people could come into it. At the moment, we're odds of plus 110 for each of the two main ones. So in percentage terms, that's like a 46%, 47% chance on Cornyn and Thune. Right, and then we would have Barrasso at 12-1, so an 8% chance. Daines at 20, so 5% chance.
Okay, all right. So Barrasso is pulled back. He's saying he's only going to run for the second slot.
It looks that way. Yes, that's all the reports are saying that I'm reading. Of course, the interesting thing is that were it he to run for it, I thought he would have a pretty good chance because he's seen as the most pro-Trump out of the three. And we're seeing many elections in the Republican Party going to non-Trump endorsements. But it doesn't, apparently it's going to be Cornyn or Thune.
How is it that you're in the UK? So what is it that you're so involved with US politics? What is that?
I think you have to, I get why that is a difficult question for Americans. But if you came here and watch the news, or I suspect anywhere in the world, there's nothing like US politics. It's the only game in town. American elections are the most compelling, widely covered, entertaining contests. For me, look, I'm a politico, right? I studied politics at university. I love the subjects. I could talk about it all day, right? And I follow it all over the world.
Okay.
But when I started betting on it, for example, I'd never lived through an American election. And then I lived through 2004 primaries and everything. I didn't bet on it. I just watched it. And I was just aghast. It was like, what? 9 months, 10 months out? And there's all this drama about who will be the candidates and who's up and who's down. And it was just enthralling. And to take, say, the last election, right? Look, for me, it's become a way of life to just follow American politics all day long. But for all my friends who aren't especially political or anything,
Right.
they were all glued to CNN for 2 weeks. And they were like,
Okay.
oh, I get it now. Now I get it. Now I get that's why you watch that all day long. Right? It's just unbelievable.
Yes.
So exciting. Everything about it, from the drama, from the circus, but also the way the results come in, the way that results are announced ward by district. It's so exciting.
It is exciting. Absolutely. I've been involved in politics for years myself as a journalist mostly. And recently I've been helping the local Democratic Party here. I live in South Carolina, which is a red state, a Republican state. And the Democrats have a tough time. And I've been helping them out with communications work for the last few years since I moved here. Now, if I know, Paul, that you would never, ever lay down a bet on anything like who is going to be the next Republican leader of the Senate. But if you were to do that, if you were, who would you pick and why?
I think Cornyn, because from what I gather, and believe me, this is a difficult market for me because this is all behind closed door stuff. It's what
Yeah,
people are saying
yeah,
quite
right.
privately. But Thune is anti-Trump. He used to. I know he's not. I know he's coming. He's fallen into line as they do.
Yeah,
But he was anti-Trump. He was very critical of Trump,
right.
and that generally seems to be like a suicide note for Republicans
Yeah,
nowadays.
like a kiss of death. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Either you support Trump or you go away. That's pretty much it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, so let's go to Trump. You're talking about Trump. He lucked out the other day when the judge in New York cut that fraud bond that he had to pay from 464 million to 175 million, and he gave him an extra 10 days to come up with that money.
Mm,
Now, until that happened, some were betting that Trump would be forced to declare bankruptcy. And I think I saw on some stuff you
mm.
sent me that you guys actually had odds on that. What do you think about that now?
Yeah, just to go through the history of that, I thought a month ago that it was inevitable that he would be declared that he would declare bankruptcy because he
Uh-huh.
can't pay, he doesn't have that money, right? And as much as like he might want to get money from whatever source, that's a bit, 500 million is a bit too much.
Yeah.
We took a lot of money though on him not declaring bankruptcy, and that was
Really?
forced into favour. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that was forced into favour it.
Yeah.
That is now a 75% chance at 3-1 on, as opposed to 33 that he does. Now, again, the fact that they have reduced the amount he needs to pay makes it even less likely. And then I noticed yesterday that he's now selling Trump endorsed Bibles for $60 a crack.
Has Trump endorsed Bibles?
Yes, he's
I
encouraging his
didn't see
followers.
that. So on top of his golden high top sneakers, he
Mm,
he's got Trump Bibles.
yes, $60 a crack.
$60 a crack for a Trump Bible.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my
Now,
God.
some simple maths here. If 3 million of his supporters buy a Trump endorsed Bible, there's his bond money.
Excuse me, people. I just don't I just cannot get over. And here is the most nasty, sinful human being that ever walked the face of the frickin' earth. And he's selling Bibles? Are you kidding me?
You've got to therefore think if they've already managed to get the bond reduced to a third,
Yeah.
not going to go bankrupt. This is going to just carry on and it'll get paid by somebody. And maybe Elon Musk will pay it for him.
Yeah. Well,
And it would be so convenient.
the other day I figured out how many pairs of his $400 shoes he would have to sell in order to come up with the 500 million or whatever it was that he had to come up with. There was a lot of shoes. And of course, you don't know what the production costs are, so what his profit would be. So it was
Mm.
even more. But now the amount of shoes he would have to sell could be reduced by the number of Bibles that he sells.
He's also got this extremely strange merger of Truth Social.
Yeah.
for some extraordinary amount of money that doesn't seem to make much sense. So I think he's going to get the money from someone.
Oh man, Trump Bibles. Oh man. Is he going to hold it upside down like he did when he was standing outside of that church
Mm.
in Washington, proving
Mm.
that he read the Bible and he held it upside down? Anyway, man, I've lost my place. I don't even know what I'm doing here. The federal case involving the January 6th insurrection that's being led by prosecutor Jack Smith. Do you think Trump is going to get convicted? Have you got odds on that?
Yeah, we have. We've got a number of guilty counts on
Yeah.
each of his trials. We've got odds of -135. He's found guilty on all 4 counts.
What does that mean?
That means approximately 58% likelihood. We've got plus
Wait,
150.
wait. You said 58% likelihood that he gets convicted?
Yes, this one,
Okay.
assuming that it goes ahead,
Yeah,
right? Would be
yeah.
money back. If it would be bets if the thing didn't go ahead. But this is the one in DC.
Uh-huh.
And
Right.
reading that indictment, it looked a pretty open and shut case. I thought Jack Smith went for the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Like, we know we can get you on this, and we'll leave the bigger detail to Fannie Willis in Georgia. I would have that, and our odds give it only an 18% chance that he has 0 guilty counts before.
Okay. Do you think he's going to go to prison?
I don't. So we've got 2 markets there. We've got to be convicted and serve jail time before 2025. There, we give only a 9% chance that he goes to prison before next year.
Okay.
And we give like a 97% chance that he doesn't.
Okay.
But we've got before 2026, that's a more open market. There, we give him a 33% chance that he is convicted and serves jail time before 2026, and a 75% chance no.
That's for which of the charges?
That's just to be convicted and serve jail time for anything.
Oh,
for
for anything.
2026.
Okay.
I have to say, my personal view here, though,
Yeah.
is that one, because first of all, come on, I mean, look, whether he deserves it or not, whether the crime warrants prison or not, that would be one hell of an explosive thing for a judge to do. Secondly, I think he's going to try and claim ill health.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm a bit. Look, Trump knows what he's doing. He's not. Trump's saying a lot of crazy things at the moment. Really, I know he always says crazy things, but getting Nikki Haley mixed up with Nancy Pelosi, that's too mad to be true, right? And I can't help but think that could be used to get him.
If he claims that, that runs counter to his charge that Biden is not mentally fit, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I mean, but we're probably looking here at stuff that would happen after the election. He's done such a good job in delaying this. It increasingly looks like the only trial he's going to face is the Stormy Daniels trial.
Yeah.
I very much doubt that would result in a prison sentence anyway.
Right.
And
I had a guy on my show the other day who pointed out the difficulty of having the Secret Service protecting him in a prison.
You would have thought, yeah, he would have to have his own wing or something.
Yeah, think about that though.
Yeah.
You've got the convict who would be Trump, he'd be in prison, and you would have his guards, the Secret Service people. They would also be in prison because they have to go there to protect the guy. So these poor people who've done nothing in their whole life except protect the president or other high officials, and they've been good people, they got to go to jail.
Look, it's another reason to think it's not, but I just don't really find it very plausible, the idea that he goes to prison. Not a man of his age anyway, right? And he's not, you're going to struggle to find a case that he's a physical threat to anybody out of prison. Trump's threat the threat that he poses, if he poses any threat, is a rhetorical threat. I don't think they would imprison someone for that.
Okay, that's a good point. Now, what are the odds that either Trump or Biden or both will be replaced by their party as the party's nominee?
Very unlikely now. In Trump's case, 99% likely to be the candidate, and we give a 5% chance if anyone wants a bet on there being anyone else, so 20-1 on anyone. In Biden's case, it's 6-1, so a 14% chance. I don't think that's going to last very long either. I think that'll be more like 10-1 before the end of the week because each day is ticking. We did take a lot of money earlier. Michelle Obama was very popular, as was Gavin Newsom.
Okay.
But I think Biden's had some improving polls as well. It just looks more and more solid that he's going to be the candidate.
Okay. Do you see Nikki Haley as a viable candidate to replace Trump? If the guy gets convicted of any of these crimes and his case is weakened and they go into the convention, is Nikki waiting in the wings to be the anointed one if that happens?
I have no doubt that was the original aim, the thinking behind her and DeSantis.
Yeah.
Certainly DeSantis as well. But I think the distinction here is that Nikki Haley has, and her donors and her supporters, the people who voted for her, these people are clearly against Trump. This isn't just we prefer her out of the two candidates. A lot of those people are saying, we're telling exit polls, they wouldn't support Trump under any circumstances.
Right.
And I personally think that what Haley's realised throughout the campaign is there is no future for her or someone of her political mindset, for example, a pro-NATO, pro-Ukraine person, right, in Trump's Republican Party. Whatever her political future is, whatever that is, whether it's third party, whether it's in a post-Trump Republican Party, you're not going to gain anything by jumping behind him as others have done.
Yeah.
So I think it's worth something to happen to Trump, worth something to happen unpredictable. I think it would be a brokered convention and it would be probably whoever he endorsed.
Right. Good point. Very good point. What about his VP picks? Who's in play, do you think?
Oh, this is a great market, isn't it? This is the most exciting one. Just bear with me a second.
Okay.
Okay.
The man has to check his numbers.
I do have to check my numbers because these change rapidly. Okay. So favourite at the moment, he's a joint favourite, Kristi Noem and Tim Scott. Okay. That's about 27% chance. Then we've got Vivek Ramaswamy. We've got Elise Stefanik, Tulsi Gabbard, Ben Carson. They're the top lot. There's literally dozens and dozens of names on this list.
Okay, so let me ask you this. If you were going to bet on this, and you might, who knows?
I have bet on this.
You did?
I have already bet on this, yes.
Who'd you pick?
Tulsi Gabbard.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think the two people and Ben Carson.
Really?
They're the two people I like. I do not believe that Trump will pick anybody who is not fully lockstep behind his position on Russia, Ukraine, NATO.
Okay.
This isn't like 2016 when he picked Mike Pence. He needed someone to shore up his base with the evangelicals, the mainstream. Now, the Republican Party now is Trump in character in every aspect.
He doesn't need anybody like Pence to shore up his evangelical base now because he's selling Bibles. You're selling Bibles, you got to be a godly person, right?
Absolutely. But I think what he's trying to do, what they're looking at is they want a person of colour to use against the charge that he's racist.
Yeah, and so that's why I was surprised that you didn't pick Tim Scott.
Yeah, but the problem with Tim Scott's definitely desperate for the job. And he's definitely on the list. But Tim Scott is fundamentally, or was fundamentally, part of that GOP establishment.
Yeah.
He was pro-Ukraine during all the debates.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think Trump would trust him. Trump wants someone there. Again, let's say Trump, he is in danger here of being forced off the ticket late
Right.
by court cases.
Right.
They want somebody who's fully on message and fully on side. And that could be Ramaswamy. He fits that bill. But then I don't think Trump would pick someone like Ramaswamy, because Ramaswamy's already proved he can't be trusted during the primaries that he was
Right.
lobbed against him.
Right.
Tulsi Gabbard is as loyal as it comes to what she's done. Lockstep since the moment he entered politics. She has worked on his behalf.
Yeah, and he's got trouble with the women's vote now.
Indeed.
Yeah, this abortion stuff is coming back to bite him big time. Do you think that's going to be a deciding factor in the election?
It does make a difference. I'm not going to say it's the deciding factor, but I think I'm quite cool on Biden's chances. I backed Biden heavily last time, but I'd be very concerned about the vote splitting. But the fact that they're running abortion referendums on the same day in some key states, I think Nevada is one and Arizona's another. Is that right?
I think so.
That could flip those two his way. It is a big issue. It's a bad issue for Republicans, definitely. Of course, the point here is that Trump himself is flip-flopped all over the place on this subject, hasn't he? He's on. There's video footage of him saying, "I'm a very pro-choice kind of guy."
Oh yeah, he has. He's flipped. He flipped, and now he's all there for the right wingers, unless he changes again. Maybe with the results of some of these elections, like this case that just occurred. What was it in one of the southern states? Had to do with yesterday, just the other day. Yeah, they elected a Democrat that was pro-abortion.
That's right, Alabama. Yeah.
Alabama. That's what It just went out of my head. Yeah. What about the age issue, Paul? Do you feel like that's going to be a deciding factor in this election? And if so, can it be turned against Trump just as it's been turned against Biden? He's only 4 years younger than.
Yeah, I don't personally think that really works though for Biden. I think there's a lot of things. Firstly, it does matter. My general analysis of politics also comes from talking to people who aren't very engaged. Right? Like, I'm super engaged. I talk to people all the time who are very engaged, involved. But we don't determine elections anywhere. The people who determine elections are the people who don't have a strong view either way, and are going to pick up on the memes, on the trends on social media, and all that. And Biden's image is terrible. They have done a brilliant job, Republicans, of memeing him, of
they have.
making him out to look hopeless. And whereas Trump is old, and yes, you could tear apart his statements, but part of Trump's success, I would say a key part of his success, is that he pulls off looking dynamic. To that disengaged person, his success, okay, maybe he's not successful, maybe it's all fake, but he's brilliantly branded himself in a certain way. And there are little things like, for example, the Stormy Daniels case.
Right.
Now, I was listening to Sarah Longwell, who does Republican focus groups. I respect her hugely. And she's saying this is a net positive for Trump. It makes him look virile.
Just like selling Bibles makes them look religious, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I do, and would be my negative for Biden going into the election. It's not the record, because I don't think, as far as I'm concerned, I'm talking from another country and looking at international figures and comparing it to Europe and whatnot. Economically, America's doing great.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he's got a really good record, and he's achieved more legislatively than any of the recent presidents. But all I hear constantly is this negativity, right? This negativity about his brand. And I worry that with all of these other small candidates who are all designed, who are all pushing the same, I think connected, but pushing the same, trying to squeeze out a little faction of the Democrat vote, whether that's Kennedy or Stein or Cornel West. I think there's every chance they'll do it just like they did it in 2016. Whereas Trump's people and Republicans, they're incredibly loyal.
Who are you going to put your money on when it comes down to the election?
At the moment, my money's on Biden because he was better value.
Okay.
Yeah. But it was good odds. And he's still, I think, the bet. I still would think he's likelier to win than Trump. I think that all I just said about the worry that the Biden vote will fragment, you've also got the problem that Nikki Haley demonstrated there, that a significant part of the Republican base now has had enough of Trump. I am still a Biden back. I also, like I've thought all the way through this, a lot of the time you've got to think ahead. You've got to think ahead to the campaign, how things will be framed.
Right.
And is Trump really, are Republicans really going to run an election campaign where they have rallies opening with the January 6th choir and where Trump will be asked repeatedly, will you accept the results of the election? And he'll say no. Right. Will you call off your supporters? And he'll say no. Are they really going to run with that? That seems like a suicidal mission.
It does.
But we're in crazy times, so it could happen.
Yeah. All right. Besides the presidential race, which obviously is taking all the headlines, but what do you think about the House of Representatives? Do you think the Democrats have a realistic shot at taking control of the House? They don't need that many seats.
That's right. We've got them just slight favourites, 56% to 47%.
Okay.
The Democrats there. I personally think the Democrats will win, not least because I think two reasons. Number one, from what I'm reading, the Republicans' money is just being eaten up by Trump's cases.
Yeah.
It's not going to feed down to these key races.
Yeah.
Secondly, I think that as we saw in 2022, the Trump endorsed candidates are getting crazier and crazier, and they lose because they're not Trump. Only Trump can be Trump. You can't imitate the guy.
Right.
I think that the Democrats will win the House. Okay. Senate, though, is another story because the Senate, the races are terrible for the Democrats this year. They're just terrible.
Uh-huh. So you think that we're going to end up with a split with the Democrats in the presidency and the House of Representatives and the Republicans running the Senate, which means that whoever succeeds Mitch McConnell will be the majority leader, not the minority leader, and have a ton of power.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is going to make it hard for Biden if he continues as the president.
Just to quote the odds there, we are 80% Republicans to win the Senate, to control the Senate.
Oh, is that right?
Only 28% Democrats.
Wow.
And when you look at the races, in honesty, if I'm honest, I think 80% is probably low. There are seats up for grabs here. West Virginia's going to go Republican. That's just gone, right? I think they could well hold on in Ohio and in Montana. But they're going to lose West Virginia, means they've got to gain one somewhere. And the only one that looks winnable is Texas. It doesn't really. Texas doesn't look particularly winnable. It's a long shot.
Yeah. The Republicans could also take Maryland.
Do you think that could happen? Really? I know that he's...
I do. What's his name? The guy who was the former governor. He's extreme. Yeah, he's very popular. And I was reading the other day that they think that he's got a good shot. And I would be surprised. I'm from Maryland, and I would be surprised. So let's talk a little bit about betonline.ag. I gather that people can bet on politics there, right?
Yeah, I would say now we've got by far and away the widest range of political markets. Just to expand, we're just talking about the Senate, for instance. I'm looking here, and this is something that people didn't used to do. Bookmakers didn't used to do this. We've got every single race. We've either got odds on to, if the state is competitive, then we've got odds on to win the Senate race. And if not, we've got by what margin the favourite will win it by. So just to take an example of that, what we've got here is, say, Wyoming. Wyoming, obviously, that's a Republican win, right? No one's going to seriously bet on the Democrats there. So we go over or under 38.5% winning margin. Yeah. And we offer that on every race. Now, we've got, just to run down US odds, we've got Joe Biden approval rating at the end of every month.
Okay.
We've got all sorts of specials about Biden. Will he be impeached? Will the House vote to impeach him? Will he last full term? We've got, will Mike Johnson still be Speaker of the House at the next election?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good one. You got old Marjorie Taylor Greene going after his ass.
Yeah, that's a really unpredictable one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because they're furious, and those are the guys who elected him, right?
Yeah.
And you've also got this petition over Ukraine spending, which will infuriate us. At the moment, we've got that. The odds there, we've got our 68% yes that he will be Speaker at the election, and 38% that he won't.
Okay.
But really, could go either way, that one. We've got Electoral College money. We've got all of the Trump indictments, like I was saying, vice president, winning party. We do world politics as well. So we've got, for instance, which of 10 world leaders named will be the next to leave office. We've got, when will Putin leave office? We've got...
Never.
There you go. If you think, like, he's a 28% chance to last till 2030. But that's quite a long time, isn't it?
Why? Because of his age? Is it because of his age?
People, I don't know. Obviously, you have to deal with any information coming out of Russia with huge skepticism. There's a lot of sort of credible reports that he's very ill.
Oh, okay.
And there has been footage of him in situations where he looked extremely ill.
Uh-huh.
And there is also, there's got to be the chance that he's going to be poisoned or something, or assassinated in some way, right? So I think it's always an open market.
Okay.
We've got big UK elections this year, which we will have an enormous range of markets because, as you can imagine, I'm all over that.
So do you have odds on whether Putin will be poisoned to death or not?
No, we don't have it specific. We don't bet. We draw the line on betting on death.
That's a good thing.
Yes, no, we have some sense. But in the cut, but we are just, when will Putin leave office? But if you are talking about that in Russia, given how these things are in play, aren't they?
I was looking at my audience statistics the other day, and I have apparently a lot of subscribers in Russia and Moscow.
I bet you do, yeah. Yeah.
I don't understand why that is, but I'm certainly not going after them. But
they're not going to. I think it's fair to say that, especially over the last decade in the Trump era, nobody's watching American politics closer than Russia.
That's probably true. That's probably true. Okay. It's been a lot of fun. You got anything else you want to tell us? What else? What other little things you got going on there?
So I think another big thing we've got is the UK elections. That's a really big thing. That's coming up. That could happen at any time now. It's going to happen this year. Again, have absolutely hundreds of markets on that. We'll be having individual races. And all of this American election stuff, there'll be more and more available. I haven't got any House districts up yet because I want to know the candidates. I want to have the candidates clarified. But certainly, let's say the closest 50, the 50 most competitive, we'll have odds on all of them. We offered them for the first time in 2022. Very popular. I was really surprised just how popular.
Yeah. Okay. Now, betonline.ag, is that your company?
That's our site. I work for them.
You work for them. Okay.
Yeah.
So how do they make their money? They get a percentage of what's bet, or how does that all work?
So it's just bookmaking. So the nature of bookmaking is that, see, I quoted a lot of those odds in percentages. Now, okay, every probability in human life has a percentage to it. Whether we like it or not, it does. We could literally just have a bet now and say, the next car to drive past your house, what colour will it be?
Okay.
Yeah. Now, imagine, so let's say we were betting on the toss of a coin, right?
Okay.
The real odds are 50-50. But for a bookmaker, you would quote 51, 40, 51, 51, or 51.5, 51.5. Because then, theoretically, you offer the service, you offer everyone the bet, and you make the 2% because you've gone slightly over. So that's in our situation that we would take an equal amount of money on both sides if the odds are right. Okay. We'd make the percentage. Of course, it doesn't work like that because the odds are rarely truly right. People, if I say what will the Republican margin in Wyoming be, it's going to be over or under 38.5, and it really comes down to whether I'm right or wrong, and we'll win if I'm right, or whether the gamblers are right.
Right, got it. Okay, you make your money exclusively from being a gambler?
Not now, because I worked a bit online and I've got.
Okay.
I pointed out, yeah, no. So I was in gambling when I was a child, right?
Really?
I worked out. Yeah, I was about 13, 14, and I worked out that you could bet on soccer. And it was like, really? Because I'm good at maths and I'm really into my sport. And it was like, really? Like I can make profit betting on 3 football teams to win. So I just got completely absorbed by it.
Really?
And I was semi-professional for years. I went and worked in the industry, like running shops for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Then 2003, I turned professional, and it was my main living for 17 years.
Wow.
In the middle of that, because I can write and I was doing a lot about, I started doing journalism on the side, doing analysis of the stuff I was predicting. And then now I do all three. I do Betonline, I make the odds there. I'm sort of a consultant there.
Uh-huh.
And I do some analysis for Betfair and such people. And I also gamble myself. But the gambling for myself is now, it's not my main income. It's an extra. It's a pastime.
It's an extra pastime. Okay. Well, that's very interesting, Paul. I do appreciate you coming on with us on the Lean to the Left podcast. And I'm happy that you feel like in the end Biden's going to win. I'm not so happy that you think that the Senate is going to go to the Republicans, but I think you're right. And one thing's for sure, this is going to be a really interesting and historic time that we're living in right now, running up to this election, especially with all these court cases involving Donald Trump, and the fact that we have, for the first time, we have a former president of the United States who's going to be in criminal court as a defendant, and that's just an amazing thing. So,
yeah, thanks for having me on, Bob. It's a great pleasure. Really enjoyed it.
All right, thank you very much. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this Lean to the Left video and that you found it interesting and informative. Please visit on a regular basis and check out our interviews with guests on topics that focus on progressive politics and the important social issues of our time. Now, our interview shows stream on Mondays with special episodes on Thursdays. And you can check out upcoming shows, guests, and topics at podcast.leantotheleft.net. Subscribe to our audio version there and to our video shows here at YouTube. And follow us on social media. Facebook at Bob Gatty and the Lean to the Left podcast. Now it's two. Bob Gatty is one Facebook page, and the Lean to the Left podcast is a second Facebook page. Twitter at Lean to the Left 1. Instagram at Lean to the Left 1. TikTok at Lean to the Left. LinkedIn at Bob Gatty. And YouTube at Lean to the Left. Now, I hope you'll support Lean to the Left as well so we can keep things going. Just click on the Donate tab at the top of the leantotheleft.net homepage and contribute by buying me a cup of coffee. That'll really help and would be much, much, much appreciated. Now, this is Bob Gatty signing off for Lean to the Left. Thanks for sharing your time with us.